Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is your girl, Wicked Raider, coming at you with another video, a couple of thoughts from a mid-game player, especially when it comes to the number of tournaments and events that have been coming our way. I know some of you guys are probably really excited about the various 10x and 2x chances that have presented themselves. I have seen some absolutely amazing shard pool videos over the past couple of days trying to get two of the most coveted champions in the game. If you know, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But for most of us, if you are like me, you're almost out of resources. You are pretty much as depleted as they come. Plarium has been hitting us back to back to back with events, and there are no complaints on this end. I am thoroughly enjoying it. I'll be honest, even the switch up in the resources and the rewards for Fire Knight and Ice Golem, we're going to take a look at all of those, even for Classic Arena and Tag Team. I appreciate the change. It depends on where your account is. And so, just a general update for this particular account. If you guys have been with me for some time, I believe on this account, I am, let's see how far in I am, because I actually have no idea. So I am 186 days in, finally trying to get to Tanix Hate Flower, who I've enjoyed on my primary account quite a bit. But while what's here changes a little bit here and there, I want to come back and kind of look at tournaments, how the reward system has kind of shaken up just a little bit, even going back to Classic Arena Takedown that closed a day or so ago. If you have had a chance to look, and I don't want to go to the global leaderboard, but they want me to. If you've had a chance to kind of take a look, the reward system is what you're going to see the largest change in. Let's just go to Tag Team Arena. So I'm starting to notice this one. So for example, Tag Team Arena opened earlier today or yesterday, one of those. I haven't gotten started on this account, so I think it opened earlier today. And what I'm noticing is there's going to be a theme, whether you are receiving red potions, blue potions, green potions, doesn't matter, but all your potions are going to fall into the same family area. The other thing that I'm noticing is the top prizes. I can appreciate this top prize at this point in the game. Honestly, do I make it to 2880 in tag team or a lot of other areas in the game? The answer is no. I've got to seriously be holding on to some refills as far as coins go for this one, because it's been a while. Now, if you are purchasing packets on a regular basis, you're probably going to have quite a few arena tokens laying around on your account. You could certainly use being able to hit these top three. Of course, could more than be worth it. A 6-star glyph is one that you don't come across all too often. And I kind of appreciate that one, even at the lower levels for all of my beginning players. If you've just started your account in February or March, you're putting in just average gameplay, kind of hours. You're putting in an hour or two per day. Then these bottom two levels are a perfect place to start. Guys, don't hesitate to check and see how active your group is. On average, most of my groups, maybe 30% of my groups are group members are actually going and competing for the rewards. I've noticed that one. I had one tournament actually on last week. I think I did one battle and ended up winning the entire thing. So always go in, see how active everyone is. You're going to have a couple of people toward the top that are going to kill it no matter what. Tag Team Arena, for a lot of us, it's an area that I enjoy. I personally love Arena. I personally have slowly found love even for Doom Tower, especially once you make it past those first couple of battles. You start to assemble a team that is more than worthy of what you have going on. So the energy in between is going to be helpful. I wish it was a little bit more. 700 points for one bottle of energy, one energy refill is a little disrespectful. 1,500 and I'm going to hit 2 more. I could do a little bit better, but because I'm not actually using energy, I'm instead using arena tokens. Not too bad. Love to see this one. I would love to see the feast come back as a top reward as well. Pretty awesome to have, especially when they gave this as a part of a previous promo code. If you had never had a barrel before, you could definitely see the benefit of having a 5-star who you've now ascended to 6, and you just want to get them to level 60 as quickly as possible, then this was going to be the best way to make that happen. Here's another change in the game. I've seen a couple of in-content kind of players speak on, and the community is kind of torn. I've gotten comments both ways. So when you come into tournaments and, for example, if you are looking at, no, take it back. If you go to events, that's what I'm thinking about. So coming out, let's go to events. I know for me, Dungeon Divers honestly should be one of the easiest events to conquer. It never is. It never is. Guys, the 9,000 total, the 6,500 points needed, that's a lot. There are a lot of instances for early game where you are only earning 8, 12, 24, 32 max points per battle. I want you to just sit and do the math. How many battles do I have to run? How many artifacts do I have to ascend to earn points? Because that's where it becomes important to you. Let's look at champion training event. So just got started on this one. Was actually running some multi-battles when this one opened up. And the first comment that I saw on a thread was, why do we have soul coins everywhere? There are a lot of in-game players. There are a lot of mid-game players that will appreciate this. These are hard to come by. I'll be honest, the Eternal Soul Coin, I don't go into the market too often. I usually will earn my Immortal Soul Coins just by my regular logging in, and every now and then I will hit a Twin Tower or something like that. It's not the top of my list. I love blessings. I love to do the increase in the ascensions on different champions, but where I am at the particular level where I am, creeping into true mid-game fashion, it's just not for me right now. The other thing is, normally when I have events, whether it is artifact enhancement, champion training, dungeon divers, I'm only able to complete this first section. Every now and then, if we're doing a fusion, and of course, you notice your fusion is going to hit the second row, either this box or this one, somewhere in there. That's as far as I can go. And I am pushing pretty hard during a fusion in order to make that happen. In order to see like an Immortal Soul Stone, I know some players that were ecstatic because when they went in pound for pound to see how much energy they would use otherwise to get these same rewards, the 250, the 100, honestly, these numbers could be a little bit higher. So look at it this way. Immortal Soul coins, they will give you 250 of them, right? Let's say I come down to the Altar of Souls. I'm going in and you guys can see I am pretty emptied and bottom out. Even if I come over to the Mystic Market, take a look. You need 1,000 of these in order to get one Mortal Soul Stone. I need 1,000 of these, 1,000. So we aren't going to come to the immortal essence and the eternal essence. Being able to acquire these is huge. The number of battles and rounds that you're going to be attempting is going to be really, really, really different. So if you come over to Dungeons, and Iron Twins Fortress is not an area where I'm spending a lot of time. 12 units of energy, and I'm anywhere from 50 to 65. 50 to 65. Even if I am coming down, and honestly, I wouldn't start getting excited until I hit stage 12 to probably stage 14. If I'm not hitting stage 14, 15, I don't even understand. And you're still looking at the number of soul coins that you would achieve by hitting that stage. So take a look at the number. That's a special amount, but regular 75 to 95, and it's stage 7. If I am using 12 units of energy here, this only increases from here. And for my early game players, it can be extremely intimidating because you're looking at the level of the Iron Twins. That's the other thing. That increase is going to be a big one. And most of us really started noticing this as you're able to get through Minotaur's Labyrinth, for example. When you start getting deeper into Fire Knight, when you start looking at Dragon's Lair, which Dragon is supposed to be the easiest dungeon. For me, Minotaur's Labyrinth was much easier. Ice Golem is one. I've probably gone about as deep in Ice Golem as I have for Dragon. So those are two dungeons where I know I want to push. My least favorite are probably the two that I should spend a lot more time in, Spider and Fire Knight, hands down. It's just not areas that I deeply enjoy. The other thing for me is I really want to push myself to double the amount of silver that I have. I want to get to the point where I have reserve silver. I don't bottom out. It would be nice to get to like 3-4 million at this point, because you run through so much silver. You run through so much silver. The other thing is you're keeping in mind, how long does it take me to go through the different keeps for potions? Is usually not as bad, hands down. So having that switch up for events when it comes to rewards is kind of a nice one. So the numbers here could be like the Mortal Soul coins, okay. Eternal 25, hard to come by. It'd be nice to see the number a little bit higher. I would love to see this start at 500. I would love to see this be my 1,000 point, because honestly, guys, 1,200 points in. And then if you come to the bottom and you're taking a look at it, there are a lot of us, when you are going through, you're earning points, you're leveling up champs. Most of the time, if you are early game, you are moving 1, 2, and 3-star champions. Look at the number of points. So where the majority of you are, literally, the lowest number of points are being given, hands down. 6 stars at the end for level upgrades, 8 points. At least the rank upgrade will give you 300. This disparity is pretty high. 4, 5, and 6 stars should be shifted down. We should start at 50. Like, there's gotta be a little bit of balance there, because it's not really a big push unless there's something that you set out to absolutely do. Now, it's nice that they will offer it to you in both categories, and they won't show us dungeon divers. The other thing is, if you know that you're going to go in, like I know usually tag team arena is one of my strongest areas. And so I just enjoy tag team. I have not run tag team, guys, on this particular account in a long time. So if I'm thinking about going for these 300, and it's been a while. It has been a while since your girl has been in here. I'm going to scroll through a couple of teams just to see what I can kind of do. If you are early game, and I am only at 188K on power, I will move this team around several times just to be able to ensure I'm going to do pretty good. If you are early game, guys, run the most battles that you can. Make sure you are running your 10 minimum, and it will add up enough for you to at least hit that first, maybe even second level of rewards. Pace yourself. Do not find yourself using gems in order to refresh. At this point, it's not going to be worth it. The only time I am heavily going through a refresh period is if those top 2 to 3 rewards that I know I've got to have, I'm just absolutely going for it. Or if I'm in the middle of a fusion, tag team pops up, I know that that's an area where I can be successful, then I may drop in 1 or 2 refresh. Other than that, I will not refresh. I will play with what I have and then continue to move forward. You're gaining 30 points per battle. Now, I would have to use all 10 of my coins and win all 10 of those battles. That should give me at 300, of course. And that would allow me to log that first reward. And it's kind of how you're thinking about it. Even if you're only doing 300 per day, you can kind of pace yourself. A lot of you guys, depending on how long you're playing, how long you stay logged in, you're going to earn an additional refresh on coins as well. A lot of you guys can go into the bazaar. And if you're missing energy or anything else, that's going to be an area that you could check, that you could use that in other areas. Don't use gyms if you don't have to. They become harder and harder to come by, especially if you are free to play or extremely low spending. And when I'm talking about low spending, guys, I'm talking about $100 a month or less at this point. I still have a lot of months where $20 a month is kind of like my cutoff period. I have accounts like this one, for example, that is 100% free to play. If you have a pay to play account, if you start a new free to play, I promise you, you're going to figure out that there are some things that you are willing to do in free to play that you may not do on that main account. The other thing is it always comes back to exposure with your champions. So being able to move my champions around and kind of see how they go. As you guys can see, my teams are extremely random in tag team and classic arena as well. I like to put the champions forward that I'm either building or I have, managed to get them to that 5 or 6 star level. So going in, finishing that 10 is going to be a big one. I know that a lot of you guys were pulling shards, hoping to get the 2 champions from Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe, were the big days that everybody else was really going in and doing some shard pulls. I think Ash did 310. The highest number I actually saw pulled, there is a video where someone did almost 500 shards. They did not get the champion they were after. Absolutely heartbreaking. Like 500 shards, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, where is the mercy? They did end up pulling legendaries, but the problem is it was legendaries that they absolutely did not want on their account. And I think that becomes the heartbreaking point. Now, here's the other issue. When I start running into teams and it's 490K and I know that I haven't even hit 200, I'm going to just go ahead and take my refresh because I have waited long enough to make that happen. Guys, waiting that 15 minutes for the refresh, especially if you know that there are other things in the game that you can be doing, or you're going to go and, campaign farm and hit a dungeon or two or move some artifacts around, come back to this area and it gets better. You're also going to run into several teams that are set up in the best possible way. They're going to have that 1 champion per slot. That's all they need. If you are early tag team or early arena, period, if you find that you are still avoiding teams with Ultimate Death Knight, because I see this a lot, see a lot of teams where you are literally pushing yourself to avoid this champion, be mindful of that. That's one thing I want to put out there. It's not impossible. And I don't have the best team that I want to have. I'm trying to decide if I want to move. We'll grab. I'm going to switch them out for a second and see how things go. I think I actually want to do it this way. I remember when Ultimate Death Knight first hit as a login champ. And the biggest question was, how can we use them? Where will people use them the most? And I promise you, every other team was Ultimate Death Knight. The same can be said with Ronda. Every other team had a Ronda, You can use, Inquisitor. There are so many other champions that you can use to offset some of what you see. I took a lot of time to really learn more about champions that were crowd control champions, learning more about the turn meter, manipulators, learning more about those champions that can force other champions' passive skills to be null and void. The importance of that, learning which champions are the strongest revivers and what other champion on the team they're going to be most synergistic with. So what I started doing is, if I can't beat you just outright, I'm going to take out your reviver. I'm going to take out and try to focus on that Ultimate Death Knight toward the end. Guys, you're going to notice I'm a lazy player and I do not apologize. I run most of my battles on auto. Hands down, I am not going through skills trying to decide one at a time what's going to be the best step. Does it always give me the quickest battle? Absolutely not. I do not run very many 6-minute, 10-minute, 8-minute, even in campaign battles. I've seen people run through Brutal in 10 seconds. 8 seconds. I think it's amazing. I would love to run my food that quickly. Do I? Absolutely not. Can I get it done in 30 seconds? Sure. Do I have a 28-second team? Yeah, I think I even have one of those. But that's good enough. If I'm going to be running campaign, I guarantee you 99.9% of the time it's on auto and I'm running out multi-battles trying to level up champions. It's when you've acquired several 5-star champions, several level 50 champions, and you can't pick which one to 6-star where issues come in. It's when you aren't being patient enough to run your food champs all the way up to being 5-star and then sacrifice them then. It gets really difficult. I've got to do better about vaulting champions to put them away from my eyesight. Because if I see you, I'm going to use you. And that's not what you always want to do either. So, guys, when it comes to gameplay, remember champions that may not be the best for someone else may be a game changer for your account, all based on how you assemble your teams. I've actually got a video I'm working on now just with another champ or two that you don't hear very much about, but they're actually awesome champions, especially early and early mid game. So let me know how you guys feel about the new reward system. How are you feeling about the layout for tournaments? How do you feel about the number of tournaments that we've been having over the past few weeks? We're getting close probably to another fusion. I wouldn't be shocked by the end of the month, if not early in June, because that's kind of been how the calendar has been turning over. It's more than enough as we lull from one fusion to the next to keep you busy. And the switch up as far as the accessibility to coins and the accessibility to potions is kind of nice. But I would love to hear from you. If you stuck around this long for me, go ahead and join the clan. We do have a couple of slots, 22 WK. We did extremely well in the most recent CBC that had personal rewards. And I'll be honest, I think CBC is coming up. The last one was April 25th. So we should be pretty close. I believe this Tuesday coming up will be our next CBC. I don't think it includes personal rewards. They normally rotate those, and I'm pretty excited that it doesn't include that. I've been pushing out enough resources at this point, just doing the little things that I am not sure that I have anything else left. Here's another one because I'm not going to prolong this baby because he can have this little battle. We're going to keep it pushing. If you are confident, guys, in your other teams for tag team, don't linger. If you are sitting watching the screen, it's taking your babies forever and a day to get through a battle, skip that battle. Go to the next one, y'all, and keep going. You have to quit all of them. Take out the ones that you know you can win. As long as you got 2 out of 3, you are good to go. All these champions right now are champions that I've either had. Grinder is one really good champion. I've actually done a guide on him before. Talia is another one. I've done a guide on her. War Priest, do not sleep on my girl. You know, it all comes together. We're going to take 20 points instead of 30 since we gave that little battle up. But use your coins. Make sure you're logging in and making things happen. And as always, happy gaming.